It is National Signing Day across the college landscape, and Locked On has you covered with the latest for your favorite college teams. I'm Jordan Black, and it is time to look at the class for Tennessee alongside recruiting expert John Garcia. We welcome in Eric Kane of Locked On Vols. Hello, guys. All right, Eric, Nico Iamaleava is already on campus. Give us kind of an overview of what this Tennessee class looks like. How are the Vols feeling? How are they doing? Kind of give us your take.
Yeah, it's a really sharp class for Tennessee, in my opinion. They did all the heavy lifting back in December for the early signing period, Nico included, but he's already on campus, as you pointed out. He's a mid-year enrollee and one of the top players in the country. He's a five-star talent, quick twitch quarterback. He's got the arm strength that really can make all the throws across the field. He took home MVP honors in the Polynesian Bowl a couple weeks ago. He is what Tennessee built this class around. Ironically, though, the defensive side of the football is really good for this class, but Nico's the headline of the five-star quarterback, and I just think Tennessee had a couple really nice evaluations for some of these guys like Tyree Weathersby, other guys like Nathan Laycock, who's a four-star wide receiver. Both of those guys jumped up big time in the rankings, and I think this is a really solid class overall for Josh Heupel. 25 signees when it's all said and done for the class of 2023, and in my opinion, was his first true recruiting cycle since being head coach at Tennessee. Remember, he was hired back in January of 2021. So this is the first class that he really had all year long to work on. I think he did a good job, and it's headlined by Nico Iamaleava.
Is there a particular position group that Tennessee fans should really look forward to that really kind of shines in this recruiting class?
Yeah, I think John would agree as well. It's probably linebacker. Tennessee was good closing the door and getting in-state linebacker Arian Carter in the month of December, just a couple of weeks before the early signing period began. Tennessee beat out Alabama for that one, but it's not just Arian Carter, who it was a one-time running back commit for Memphis before his defensive tape blew up, and he had all these Power 5 offers come down the pike in a quick amount of time. But it's also Jeremiah Thielander, who is a tackle machine down there in the state of Georgia. And then Jalen Smith, who plays for Grayson High School. It's one of the best high school programs in the country. Really like those three at linebacker. And I like what Tennessee did on the edge. Number one player in the state of Tennessee, and Caleb Herring. Brother Elijah Herring is already on campus as a sophomore now. And then Shadavion Bradley, one of the better players out of Missouri. Both of those guys can get after the passer. And I think Heupel's made a clear direction so far that he's going to recruit the two most important positions, that being a quarterback and guys who can get after the quarterback. And he did that here in this class.
Well, it's an arms race to recruit in the SEC. So, John, how does this Tennessee class stack up against other teams in the East, but in the SEC as a whole?
Yeah, I think there's almost an expectation that, hey, Georgia, Bama, Georgia are going to do their own thing, and it's kind of everyone else. And you could argue that Tennessee's got the most impressive class when you do get to whatever next grouping you want to classify it as. But when you're still recruiting at a top 10 clip, it's very impressive. And I think when you look at the overall scope, as Eric said, very impressive to see the defensive additions come into Tennessee. Coming off of the 22 season, I'm assuming everyone would have said, hey, a lot of great offensive players are going to want to play for Josh Heupel, especially with a Nico Iamaleava committed. But not only was this a defensive-heavy class, a lot of these guys were on board even before the breakout 2022 season on the field. So very good early identification, scouting, and having conviction with some of those early Tennessee targets from all over the country on top of it. I thought that was a little bit more outside the box. 10 different states represented on this list, led by a Californian. That's not something we would normally associate with Tennessee football. So I think there was a good combination of early conviction, holding on to some targets because everybody wanted in on a lot of these guys. And then, going defense, even though offense was so theoretically easy to wrap up great recruiting classes with. So I thought it was a great national class for Tennessee and a top 10 group overall.
For both of you, who sticks out from this class as a guy or guys who can make an immediate impact, guys who are going to see playing time next year?
I'll go first. For me, it would probably be defensive lineman David Hobbs. And John's right. Before Tennessee kicked off, September 1st or whatever it was, you had 21 commits already in the boat. I mean, Tennessee's was pretty much done, right? But they did close well, picking up 3 commits in season, and one of those was the 5-star David Hobbs, who Was a late bloomer in this class. He didn't have a whole lot of interest last spring over the summer. He's a basketball player, tremendous athlete. Tennessee, like Alabama, like Georgia, like some North Carolina, the home state school, kind of jumped in on that, and he almost kind of held it against all those schools, saying, "Hey, you didn't like me in the summer. Why do you like me so much now?" But eventually, Tennessee wore him down. Tennessee won over him, and a guy that's a tremendous athlete, quick twitch, can line up in different roles on the defensive line, and a guy that, Rodney Garner, defensive line coach for Tennessee, he plays 12 guys a game on the defensive front. So David Hobbs is the guy that can come in and have a role immediately and try to help that Tennessee defense moving forward in 2023 and beyond.
I'll go on the offensive side of the ball. Give me Ethan Davis. He's a guy that, as a junior, made that transition over from basketball, like we've seen so many great tight ends do. And at one point, he was the hottest tight end recruit in the country, regardless of class 2022, 23, 24. Any of those, Davis was the hottest commodity, picked Tennessee during the offseason, and then got injured as a senior. So he's kind of undervalued, kind of backdooring through this National Signing Day recap of what Tennessee's bringing in. But make no mistake, 6'5", 230 pounds or so, elite natural ball skills. You can throw him the back shoulder. He can high point it. All of the modern asks at the tight end position, Ethan Davis can fulfill. So whether it's Milton or Nico Iamaleava, whoever the quarterback is going forward, you're going to have a big, versatile, wide catch radius target in Ethan Davis to help that Tennessee high-octane offense keep putting up points.
And then just to wrap up, we always look at the positives in signing day, but were there any missing pieces, or are there any missing pieces? Recruiting, it's a full year thing. So these guys are going to go out and start looking at the 2024 class already. What are they going to be looking for? What do these coaches need to pinpoint as the next recruiting class comes around? John, we'll start with you.
Well, you always want to grab that quarterback early, and it's an arms race at that position in particular. This recent run of transfer portal chaos in college football has told us you're only as good as your quarterback room right now. So you've always got to stack talent there. I look for Tennessee to start at that position. But look, in 2024, there's a lot of great talent in their natural footprint. So you expect another great class from Tennessee, always attacking the Carolinas, the Atlanta area, even coming down into Alabama and Florida in that general SEC footprint, especially if you start stacking good on-field products back-to-back from a wins and losses standpoint. Tennessee is going to start to be viewed differently even when that scholarship offer comes in. But it's never too early to get going in 2024, and Tennessee we expect to hit the ground running.
Eric,
For
we'll let you
me,
wrap it up.
for me, sorry I jumped on you there. I would say offensive tackle. It's an offensive game now, but it's still a line of scrimmage league, and if you don't win in the trenches, then you're not going to win many football games. Tennessee was in on a lot of offensive tackles in this class, a lot of high caliber, like Francis Manigoa, can't say his name, and Stanton Ramel and some other guys. But they got Sham Umarov, which is a really nice talent. He was one of the top four that they were after, and they got him, but he was really the only one. They got some other offensive line signees in this class like Vyson Lang and Aiden Bustle, but I kind of project those guys more in the interior at the guard position, maybe even center. So I think moving forward, the tackle spot, you've seen Tennessee each of the last two off seasons address offensive tackle in the transfer portal. They've got to get at least, in my opinion, 3 offensive tackle bodies in the class of 2024. But as John pointed out, the footprint, it's rich with them, and Tennessee should be able to get some of those guys on campus over the next couple of months and start really kind of diving into getting some commits at the offensive tackle for the class of 2024.
Seems like there's a lot to look forward to. Obviously, last year was really exciting before what was an unfortunate ending for Tennessee and the quarterback position, but a great recruiting class, it seems like.
Yeah, no doubt. I know a lot of Tennessee fans are excited. Josh Heupel is, he's proven that he can win games, and I think that he's also proven that he's been a pretty daggone good recruiter so far at Tennessee, again, attacking positions of needs. So there's a lot of excitement here in Knoxville, and I know a lot of people are intrigued to see what these guys here in the class of 2023 can bring, not only next season, but obviously for years to come.